Hi there, Ruben. Thank you for joining me today for this interview. Um, Here are some questions that I want to ask you about websites. And so the first one is, how often should you redesign your website?
Yeah. Uh, the short answer is only as often as you need to. A lot of business owners will want to redesign their website after they see something cool on a friend's website or a competitor's website or just some random website that they visit that they think is really impressive, and they want to redesign their website to like match that style or do that thing that other website is doing. And that's just not a good reason to redesign your website. You should only redesign it when there's a reason for it. And the reasons are it's not doing what it was doing, what it used to be doing, or what you want it to do. That's the short answer of it.
Mm-hmm. So, what does a website redesign actually mean?
So I've actually changed my thinking on this because of how customers use the term redesign. I like typically, and the way I used to like word this was that the design part is just the style of the website. So spacing, heading hierarchy, colors, borders, how rounded the borders are, border colors, things like that. However, almost every person, every customer, and every one of our customers out there, when they say redesign, they're talking about just rebuilding the entire website. So that's how I'm going to be moving forward in this discussion is approaching it that way, where we're talking about rebuilding like everything from the ground up, the functionality, the development that goes into it, and yes, also obviously how it looks, the style of it.
Perfect, perfect. Um, So, if someone comes to you and asks you, "Hey, I want to redesign my website," what are some questions you ask them to figure out what they actually mean by redesign?
Yeah, because some people might just think, well, I just want to maybe I do just want to change the colors a little bit. Maybe we change our brand color. We want to change that a little bit. Or they might be talking about, over the years, there's some inconsistency either in spacing or in some other styles, maybe. So yeah, I need to ask them questions. So that would be the first thing I would kind of ask them is like, what is it? I would usually ask, what is it not doing that you want it to do? Because that's usually I approach it from a functionality standpoint, which can lead into, well, it's not getting the leads or the sales that it did a year ago or 2 years ago. And so we want to redesign it because we feel like something's missing. And often they might not be sure what it is. If it's functionality, like it might be, they might say, we want to add a pricing estimator onto the website, which is incredibly useful. We have one on the Touchdown Tech website, touchdowntech.com. You can get a estimate on what it would cost to rebuild a new website from the ground up. So, yeah, I would ask them, what is it not doing that you want it to do? And then if they say something like it's just not getting the sales or leads that it used to, I would probably ask them some things like, has anything changed in the past year or whatever time period they're talking about? And if nothing has really changed that they are aware of, often the problem is going to be the messaging on the website is no longer connecting with their ideal customer. So think of it in terms of, well, people just they buy the same things for different reasons over the course of years. So
Mm-hmm.
people buy um, bacon, or let's say beef. People buy beef because they like the taste of it. They are hungry for beef. But over the course of years, there's now studies out there that say, oh, beef is actually healthy. It's a healthy meat to eat, especially if it's grass fed. So their messaging should actually change to be talking about, the health benefits of beef, not just the taste of it. So those are things that can change over time, and it's not, yeah, it's not always maybe that drastic, But if a customer or yeah, if you haven't updated your website messaging or reviewed it, if you haven't reviewed your messaging in 10 years, there's a good chance that you're missing opportunities. You're leaving money on the table. So we have a messaging guide that is a document, and it just talks about who the ideal customer is, what problems they have, why they should choose, us, or in your case, why they should choose you to do business with you, and what's unique about doing business with you or choosing your option. And so it's good. You don't have to review it every year, probably not even every 3 years, but for sure, if you haven't reviewed it in 10 years, you're leaving money on the table. And we actually just reviewed this with a client a few weeks ago, and nothing. There was just a few minor things that changed, and it was initially developed that messaging guide document was initially created probably about 3 years ago. So we reviewed it, and there was a few minor tweaks to make.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you said that if messaging changes, you should change your website. What about trends or competitors are changing how their website looks? Is it smart to change your website or redesign your website with the trends to stay on top of things, or what do you think about that?
Generally, I avoid chasing trends. Um, because if you go very hardcore after a trend, and I'm usually the trends are more design or style based, and if you go hardcore into it, it's more quickly going to look outdated. And the alternative to this is a company like Apple, where their branding, like if you look at something from 10 years ago, yes, it has changed, but when you look at it, it never looks outdated. And it's not because they update it so often, it's just they don't go after really trendy things. Something right now that's kind of trendy is when you hover over a button, is that the text flips as you hover over it. It's just a visual thing, and it's very popular. Like people in the web design space are very familiar with it, and it comes up multiple times in different places I've been online. And so if you would do that to all your buttons, like it looks cool right now, but my hunch is that that is a trend that's going to look outdated very quickly. In 2 years from now, like that could look very just old and outdated. So I avoid doing anything like that. We stick with more traditional approach to design, and we really emphasize letting the content, the message come through. We want the style and the design to, for the most part, stay out of the way, or if it does anything, just assist the message, because the message, that is why people are going to buy from you. It's not because of some fancy animation that moves around, or it's not because your border radius is like matching whatever the latest trends are. And all the other reason too, we kind of shy away from, or we avoid doing really um, in-depth might not be the right word, but extravagant or modern or trendy designs is because especially animations are very expensive to design and develop, and they typically end up distracting your website visitor from the message and from taking the action you want them to take.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. So jumping more into lead generation, let's say a company is losing leads or sales, and how do you tell if it's AI? Is the reason, or your message is the reason, or redesign is your reason? How do you kind of figure out what is your reason for your leads dropping?
Okay, and like you said, AI might be the reason leads are dropping. That's the leads should not be. I think what you're alluding to is like getting fewer page views because of
Mm-hmm.
AI, and because of AI answering questions without making people go to a website to get the answer.
Mm-hmm.
So that has happened. I've have seen it happen. I have a client that it drastically happened with. They had an article that was ranking very high. They were getting, I think, thousands, if not tens of thousands, views per month from it. Not tens of thousands, but they were getting like I'm pretty sure it was over 10,000 views per month. And then all of a sudden, it just dropped. And I went and dug into it, looked at it, and it wasn't that their ranking had dropped. It was just that on the Google search results page, the top element was an AI answer to the question that the article was ranking for. And so they were no longer getting those clicks because Google was just answering it on their search results page, and which is like an AI driven
Mm-hmm.
answer. So it's not that. So if visitors are dropping, that is often the first place I would look is for some of the searches or queries that were bringing in a lot of traffic. Are those now being answered by AI without requiring people to go to the website? However, if leads, like, that should not affect leads or sales because people still need to do the business on your website. They're not going to be able to, for example, um, if they want to buy a 3D printed toy, they can't get that just from the AI agent. They need to, buy it from someone. So your leads and your sales should not be dropping. Um, if that is dropping, if your leads and your sales are dropping, but maybe you're still getting consistent traffic to your website, that hasn't really dropped off compared to what it was, then almost definitely it's something with your message is not connecting or not overcoming the problem that they're having. It's not answering their questions correctly, the website visitor. So that was, and that's often where that's usually the problem with most websites. It's not that their design is bad. It's that their message doesn't connect and convince. And so we have a very structured approach to messaging. We find out in short, we find out who's the ideal customer, what are their concerns, what are their fears, what do they care about, and ultimately, why should they choose you over another option? A competitor, doing it themselves, not doing anything. So that's what the messaging guide really does. And good website messaging or copy will take visitors from visitors to customers by addressing the concerns they have, the questions they have, and painting a
Mm-hmm.
picture of them how they can achieve what they want and reach the success that they want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. Um, what are the most common mistakes business owners make when they decide to redesign their website?
Uh, I would say they often want to look cool, and their they want themselves to look. They care more about how they are they care more about how they perceive their own brand and website than they do how the customer perceives their brand and their website. And it's an easy trap to fall into, and it's an easy trap for marketing agencies to fall into as well because we are building the website for the person that's paying the bills, which is the business owner. But our approach and our focus, we don't build. We say this on our website. We don't build websites for you, the business owner. We build it for your customers. That's our approach to it. Um, and so part of the things that fall into that trap for the business owner is that they want fancy animations. If you go to the Stripe website and move your cursor down there, there's so many moving pieces and moving parts. It looks cool, it looks exciting, but if that's how your website is laid out, you're distracting way more than you are helping convert visitors into customers. Another thing, a lot of uh, it usually comes down to visuals. Like they care more about the visuals than they do about the message. And the message or the words, which visuals can help with, but the message needs to is the most important thing. And so sometimes business owners want maybe just a cool looking video on the background of their team working hard and doing cool stuff. And if that's not what the customer cares about, then you're wasting time and money, and you're actually hurting yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. So let's say someone does come to you though. They have a website that is already built, but it is not built to the way that you normally build websites, and they want you to change a few things. Do you take that website and add on top of that website, or do you highly recommend redoing the website to the way that you redesign websites or rebuild websites?
Yeah. So we like one of our like it's not technically a core value, but like one of our things is we build scalable and maintainable websites. And so we have a very specific tech stack, or basically just like tools. We have very, very specific tools we use to build websites that help make it scalable, maintainable, fast loading, and high converting. Although that's more like the content or messaging side of it. So if a company or a customer comes to us and says, "Hey, we need some help with our website," it depends what they want, depending what I would recommend. And as a general rule, I always recommend pushing off a redesign as long as possible. And don't do it until it makes financial sense to do it. Where either you're losing money by not doing it, or you're going to make so much more money that it's worth doing it. But don't just do it like whimsically or without much thought. Like it needs to be a thoughtful decision. So one of those things would be, and I can give you a real world example of a client. They are kind of the website and brand has been around for several years, but it's kind of been in the background, and they want to make it a little bit more public facing. And so they for sure they want to change their messaging pretty heavily. Instead of it being a little more anonymous, they want to just come right out and say like who they are, what they're doing, where they are, and be a lot more open and transparent with the brand. And initially, I was thinking like all we need to do is just change some photos and the messaging. However, after talking with them some more, I now know, or I learned that they want to change the functionality pretty significantly over the next 2 years. And so in this case, it's going to be easier and cheaper and faster to just redesign it on our tech stack. And our tech stack, it's not a secret. We share it on our website. We built everything on WordPress. That's the content management system. It's been around for 20 years or so, and it's old, it's stable, and there are for sure annoyances about it. However, it's a great choice for a content management system. You can have, pages, articles, products, testimonials, FAQs. You can do anything with it, and you're not locked in. That's one of the huge benefits. You're not locked in like you are with a Shopify, where if you don't align with their whatever, like for whatever reason, political reasons, religious reasons, whatever, they could just shut you off. Same thing with things like Squarespace. Like you're tied into you're part of their platform, part of their ecosystem. WordPress is open source, so I have the code of the website can be hosted on whatever host I choose. We're not locked in. So that's one of the big benefits is that you're safe from that sort of control, if you will. And I've never run into it, but I have heard of people that have run into where their Shopify store was just closed, eliminated. Actually, the one time it was not even because of political reasons or anything. It was just the company. It was a puppy breeder, and Shopify. No, I'm sorry. This was not Shopify. This was Wix. Wix flagged them as suspicious because they were trying to migrate their domain, which was also registered with Wix, to a different person. Someone had set up the website for them, and then they were trying to like move it to their account, and it got flagged, and they ended up their website was shut down. They I kind of lost track with them, so I'm not sure how it all ended up, but they were thinking about getting lawyers involved to try to get access to their website because they were losing business because people couldn't find them anymore. But anyway, I forget the tech stack. Yeah, so we have WordPress is our content management system. We use different hosting providers, and we're always looking for, optimal, like we're looking for performance and security is the two kind of keys there. So that has changed and, throughout the years. And then, so WordPress is kind of the content management system. The development layer, we use Etch. It is a theme and a page builder. It's incredibly lightweight, especially when you compare it to things like Elementor or Divi or Beaver Builder, and even Bricks Builder and Oxygen. Those are, yeah, with Etch, you get something that is lightweight and flexible. It lets you do what you want to do. It's incredibly performant, which is key. The faster your website loads, the more enjoyable it is for your website visitors to be on it and use it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ruben, for the interview. Is there any closing thought that you want to add or something to add?
Yeah. Even though I said, only redesign when it makes financial sense. If you're not sure, like maybe you're like, hey, sales haven't dipped. You can still reach out to us and let us know, like, hey, could you look at my website and let me know if you think that maybe we are like leaving some money on the table with our messaging, or maybe our website is slower loading and you're not sure how to tell or compare it to kind of the standards. Reach out to us, touchdowntech.com. You can request a meeting or just fill out the contact form, and we can look at your website, and pretty quickly I can give you an idea if I think you're missing out either on the messaging, or maybe your website is just slow loading, which also hurts website visitors, or it hurts them from taking action, from converting on your website.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ruben, for the interview, and hope that this will help someone. And can't wait to do some more interviews with you.
All right, thanks, Nicholas.
Yep. All right. Bye.